All right, here we are. We're live. Episode number 3 already of the Bourbon Brothers with my co-host, my beautiful, handsome bourbon and supplement loving friend, Robert Shinesky, the supplement engineer, and yours truly, Supplement Snoop. Here we are. What's going on, buddy?
Another glorious week, man. This is good. I mean, it's only episode 3, but given like all of the 4,000 other episodes we recorded together, it feels like this should be episode like 3003 or something instead of episode just number 3.
That's true. To say episode 3 is like kind of weird. It's like we've been doing this for like 2 years, man.
I know, man. Oh, you went up to the Bullfrog event this past weekend?
No, that's this coming week.
Okay, was this weekend the big bourbon blowout one? This past weekend?
So so this is actually going to be like a perfect story because it's going to tie together supplements and sort of what we do, what you do, and bourbon. All the things we love sort of come together in one sort of epic collision, literally collision. So where do I start? So a little bit of backstory for like people that haven't followed along with me or anything like that. We created a smartphone app that sort of is like a bit of an encyclopedia. I call it like the TripAdvisor, basically, for supplements. And what we did was we attached a private Facebook group, which, Robert, you're part of that. People that are like that I trust within the industry to sort of help out consumers and things like that to give them more information, because I said it's, you can read all this stuff, like we can give you all the information in the app, but then you got to talk about it, with like other people, their experiences. I say experience is a big part of using supplements. So anyway, fast forward, and it's really this crazy like tight-knit community that's sort of like within the thing. So in a really cool turn of events, my like best friend growing up, we still are best friends. We like the only person I talked to from like basically growing up. He has sort of integrated himself with a lot of people that I've become really good friends with from our private Facebook group. So cool. We have like this group chat together. So anyway, no one's met. Just my buddy and I are the only ones that have ever met each other at this group. So not too long ago, my one friend, he lives in Minnesota. Actually, so they're both named Robert too. There's something awesome about Roberts, right?
There is.
It's just cool shit happens when Roberts are around. So Robert lives in Minnesota. He's like, hey, I'm gonna fly to Virginia, where my buddy lives. He's like, and then we're gonna drive down to see you in South Carolina, you and Kristen. I'm like, it's like a 7-hour drive. I was like, there's no way that I'm missing that drive. Like, there's no way I'm missing that road trip. So I'm like, well, I'll fly one way up to DC, and then I'll drive back down the next day with you guys. And so anyway, our other friend Robert was like, he lives in San Diego. He's like, I'm not missing this. He's like, so I'm gonna fly to Virginia, and then we'll all drive down together. And then like, so it started to build momentum, and then some other people heard about it. Nick, who's on here, Nick Price, that joins us all the time. He ended up driving in from Louisville. Our other friend drove up from Florida, and then there's a lot of people in this community here. So it turned into this whole thing, right? So yeah, we're like, we'll hit a gym Thursday in Virginia, and then on the way down, we're going to hit another gym on Friday, and then we'll end up here. And we'll have like a little get together at our new place down here in South Carolina. So Robert from San Diego, I sort of told you about this. He talked about an epic individual. Think about this for a second. He had never really drank bourbon or whiskey. And the first time he did was with me down here a few weeks ago. And we drank that was when we killed all that Blanton's.
The Blanton's bender. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first real like bourbon he drank was Blanton's. I'm like, I don't know how he did this, but he lives in California. He found Blanton's Gold, which I've never even seen. Like I saw a bottle. Axe and Sledge had a bottle of it, but we didn't drink it. I've never seen it available. It is stupid expensive. he shipped a bottle to my buddy's house in Virginia ahead of time to bring down here and all drink together. And I'm like, bourbon's like Blanton's Gold, like seriously, that like I like to do it big, but that is even like a little bit.
I'm gonna look up the MSRP for this just so we can give the listeners, because you and I know what Blanton's Gold is supposed to retail for, and then on the secondary market add a qualifier to that.
Right. And he found it at a store in California. He said they had like 3 bottles of it.
Okay, so the MSRP is $99.60 or it's $100. You go on something like Caskers.com or some of these other places and you look up Blanton's Gold, you're going to see it for like $500-$600.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it for $1,000.
Yeah.
I know what he paid for it, and I'm like, you're crazy. So anyway, if you ever get a chance to try. My buddy actually sent me a text message this morning. He goes, I just want to remind everyone that at that party, he's like, Blanton's, like regular Blanton's, was the worst bourbon that we drank the entire night.
Holy shit.
The Blanton's Gold is like, I mean, it was unfreaking believable.
Yeah, so for all the people out there, Blanton's Gold Edition.
And that's actually
$430.
And that's actually available.
Yeah, for the low price of $429, you can have yourself a bottle of Blanton's.
Dude, it was so good. Like it was significantly better than regular Blanton's, and you know my love for regular Blanton's.
Oh yeah, both of ours. Yeah.
But yeah, we drank the whole bottle. Whole bottle was gone. So then. We had the Blanton's.
Ooh, it's even got a better proof than regular Blanton's does, because regular Blanton's is 90, and I mean that can get it's good, but I tend to like the bourbons that are at least 100, and then from there you can kind of go where you want to. So 107. This is making me.
And there's not a chance in hell I would even guess that it was 107.
Yeah. Like
it was so smooth and so good. Like it was. You know how we get in it? Like sometimes we're like, well, the cool thing about bourbon is you can get a really good bottle of bourbon for $40 sometimes. Yep. You know what I mean? Like High West or Larceny or, all kinds of different stuff we talked about.
Yeah.
You're like, is it worth paying 10 times the price for some bourbon? It's true.
There you go.
Well, I can say in this case, like I wouldn't obviously, like if you have unlimited disposable income, I would say go for it. Like,
yeah.
But it was significantly better than probably any I don't want to say any bourbon. It was probably the best bourbon I've ever had, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah. It was probably the smoothest. Dude, it was so good. And I hate how good it is, because then now I'm like I said, we drank that. Mm-hmm. I opened that bottle of the Japanese whiskey that I was showing on here, the one with like the samurai sort of.
Yeah,
like,
Yamato,
yeah.
Yamato,
so in a very pleasant surprise, because that thing is pretty expensive, mm-hmm. and I'm like, you saw the marketing for it, the box and the thing, and I was like,
awesome.
I was like, chances are the bourbon itself. I was expecting average, maybe like tasty. It was freaking good, man. It was really good. So I was really happy with that it actually not only was the whole package that they put together, the branding and everything like that, they actually delivered a really good bourbon too. And that one I think is 80 proof compared to 107 that Blanton's is, because I think like Hibiki is 80 proof. I think also like the Japanese whiskeys are a little bit lower on the proof from what I've tried.
But yeah, it's kind of like the Irish and the Scotch whiskeys too. Like they're all in like that 80 to 86 proof point. They don't venture into the 90, 100 plus like the American whiskeys or bourbons do.
Right, like what we do. But I'm telling you, so we did Blanton's Gold, then we did that, and we opened the bottle of Sweet Wheat that I bought a while back.
Oh, 1792 Sweet Wheat.
That's so good. And then we slummed it by drinking Blanton's at the end.
Slummed it by drinking just regular Blanton's.
Yeah, it was quite the bourbon blowout.
That is an awesome way to spend a weekend, man. Or just what, in addition to all of like the regular characters that you got, like just the fact that you get all the good bourbon too, it's the icing on the cake.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know if Nick will join, and Nick was there too. Then we just had a whole bunch of people basically passing out here and on.
Yeah.
We moved. We were in a house, and then we moved into an apartment, just downsized basically because we don't need it. And it was just like a total shit show here. Of like, it was like a frat party, only you were just drinking like really good shit.
You don't wake up in somebody else's strange bodily fluids.
Right. Yeah.
Well, maybe you did. I don't know. I'm not going to
judge. Somebody probably did. Yeah. So like I was the same way. I got luckily enough, and this is kind of ties into supplements. Is there's a lot of people that we sort of can help them skip past the shitty supplements that are out there. And I was the same way with bourbon. My buddy let me sort of skip the lines and
like the benchmark, all like the bottom shelf, like ancient age, all the nasty stuff, the gas lighter fluid.
But it also is dangerous because you're spoiled. It's like the people that jump in the first pre-workout you take is, I don't know, like something from Morphogen or something like that. It's like, well, good luck. You can't go back. Like you
go back to C4 now.
Right. Yeah. You can't do stuff like that. So it's bittersweet. But we to tie it in, we could talk more about the bourbon stuff, but that also ties in. So, okay, we stayed up until about like 6 a.m, and we did not sleep much. But the next day, there was like 8 of us, I think 7 or 8 of us went to the gym, and 5 of us tried the new Assassin.
There you go.
So I know that like going to the gym is like for your health. I don't really think that what we did that weekend and then going to the gym, taking Assassin after drinking all that bourbon, and I don't think that could really be described as healthy. But
you sweat out the toxins.
Yeah, we had an epic workout session with the new Assassin. I don't know if because it's a little bit. I know you like the lower, or not in the lower stem, but probably not like full go with new Assassin.
Yeah, I mean, I can handle it. And so like the times I've taken Assassin, I've taken it twice now. I've done a full scoop each time. So I mean, I can do it. It's just on like a day-to-day thing. I don't do it just because I don't. We always say the thing need, and we're not men of needs. We're men of just go big or go home. And so my first instance before I took it was last Friday or Saturday. I just sent Robbie a text. I said half scoop, full scoop. He said do the whole thing. And then Lucas and Shane chimed in and they said do the whole thing. Put your pants on and just go at it. So I mean, I've survived both times. It's. I mean, I've very, very much enjoyed it.
This is the new one you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the new one ties into a lot of what we've already talked about when it comes to like what they've been doing with pre-workouts. I think it's more like double impact to me, which I love. Double impact. There'll be people out there, I think, that would, because when I say it's less strong, that doesn't mean like there's less energy or there's less focus. I would say actually the focus on it was nuts. Yeah. But there's less of that like edgy, anxiety inducing, like kind of, I don't want to say it's like in way to like make the product sound bad, but like, like the other Assassin, there's so much PEA and all these other things going on there. It kind of gives you like that almost a nauseating kind of feeling sometimes. Like if you're getting into it, you're into the workout. Sometimes if you're working out intensely, that is sort of pushing you over an edge, that you don't really. Some people want to. I don't. I think that this one dials that back a little bit and puts you into a space, because we worked out hard and we were sort of getting ready to finish up. We were there for like, I don't know, an hour and a half or something like that. And a couple of us were like, I literally felt like I just got there and I could start all over again. We went into like a totally different body part, and exercise routine and just kept going. It was crazy.
Yeah, man, it's good. Like it's like you said, it doesn't have you on that uncomfortable, like too much alpha yohimbine or too much other kind of like aggressive stim stuff to where you feel like that. I almost call it like glitchiness. Like you've got like a little kind of like glitch like going on. Like some certain pre-workouts will make you feel like that. Yeah. This doesn't have that. The energy, the focus, the mood is all there, and you just want to keep going without that kind of like cracked out feeling on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't know who actually likes to feel cracked out when they actually train, though. Like, you want to have a lot of energy, you want to have a lot of focus, you want to have that motivation, but do you want to feel like you're like got like Parkinson's or like a twitch going on or something like that?
Yeah, I think, and there is a lot of people that do like that feeling. But also, like, one thing I've noticed is when you sort of go over that edge, you're also, not only do you lose performance, but I think like it really kind of like messes with my recovery and things like that, because when I push too hard and you feel it like in your CNS and stuff like that for the rest of the day, it's like that recovery window that I like, post workout and stuff, it feels like you're just working so much harder to get yourself sort of back to normal. So
agreed.
That's what I loved about Double Impact when it came out. We've talked about this lots of times. I love that it brought down that anxiety, that really harsh feeling, and it brought up like the mood and the sort of like happy kind of stuff. And man, so we only use it once, because then it was a really awesome but rough weekend. So then, like the workouts on the last couple of days, I decided not to push Assassin on my system because my body had hated me enough already. So, but the next workout, I don't know if we're going to work out today or tomorrow, but that one I'll probably try it again just to get another feel for the product.
Yeah, I did. Saturday I did it. Monday I did Assassin. Yesterday I did something super low stim, like it had 200. It was whatever. MFit's not around anymore, but it was whatever the MFit pre-workout was. Their Havoc, I think it was. It's only got 200 megs of caffeine in it. I mean, but that's all I need for a leg session. So tomorrow will be shoulders and arms with Sandy, and I might just decide to go balls to the wall and take Assassin.
There you go.
Because why not?
I totally agree. I think I never tried MFit. They didn't last very long.
No. Jojo. What's going on, Jojo? Creamy. You definitely need to step up your bourbon game. Come to the Apollon thing in October, because I think Creamy's up in that New York area. So just make the drive down into Apollon for that, and then Justin and I can educate you on the finer things of bourbon. And if Pete shows up again too, he can bring you into the fold.
If Pete, hopefully Pete will be there. He'll be there. He'll for sure be there. Which reminds me. So if you can come to South Carolina for Christmas,
okay, make a note.
So last year we did a Christmas party here, TNS kind of thing, and it turned into dude, I know I've told this story before, but basically the entire private Facebook group showed up, came from all over the country.
Really?
Chris Waldron was there, Dan from Ghost, and Ben from Morphogen, Michael from Glaxon, and just the brand owners that came. And it's not an industry thing. It's just to hang out and have a party and support kind of what we were doing and what Jacob was doing down here. But we went to that Irish bar with they have an amazing bourbon selection. And I'm telling you, we kept that place in business for years. Just based on that night. So
the amount of stuff you guys went down through.
So it'll be December 18th. It's the week before Christmas, so I know that's kind of gets a little bit rough, but December 18th we'll be doing the second annual TNS Christmas banger.
Okay. Well, we don't really go anywhere for the holidays anyway. Since we have a 4-year-old, we've started telling people, look, it's time for us to start doing the Christmas traditions here. If you want to come and see us, you're going to do it. But she deserves to have Christmas her way, like we had growing up, where we woke up and we had Christmas in our house. And obviously parents' parents, like, so my grandparents lived down the street from us, like my mom's parents lived down the street from us, and my dad's was 30 minutes away. So you could putt around and do all that stuff. We're a state away, so we're not going to be picking up all the Christmas toys and doing, like, we don't go overboard with toys and gifts anyway. We'll leave that to the grandparents to send stuff if they want to. Like, we give her some stuff, but I'm not going to line up like my parents did for us with. Anyway, I'm rambling.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 18th.
No, I get that though, because
the 18th, I think we can do that.
Christmas has changed a lot. Just the way Christmas sort of is, I think it's changed a lot since I was a kid. Definitely, like, where instead of it being like an all day where everyone sort of gets together, I say like it's like express holidays. You're trying to go and then hang out and get home as fast as possible and just be at your own space. So, yeah, December 18th, you and Sandy, it would be awesome if you guys come up.
All right, I got that noted down, and we'll figure out what to do with the half.
Oh, and then that was the other part I was going to mention. Kristen commented about the bourbon earlier. So I showed you the other day that Stacked highlighted her new business on stack.com, and it didn't have anything to do with me. Shane didn't know the connection or anything like that. So what she does basically is, shameless plug here, but it ties into the weekend, is she takes like the protein stuff. She made some killer protein bars from Apollon, that we love, and her page is really cool. So she made an Oreo pie from the ghost Oreo, and dude, is mind blowing.
Fantastic.
Yes. So
I need to get the recipe for some of those protein bars in, because I'm always trying to, like, I'll do pancakes and waffles and stuff here like that, or like muffins, like blueberry muffins I've made with protein powder before. But if she's got a killer bar recipe, I'd be curious to try that out and see how it comes out.
Yeah, I think she put that recipe on her Instagram page, the protein bar one.
Okay.
I think it's on there.
Okay.
But yeah, so super cool. She's got a gift for sure. So she made like I said, the ghost Oreo. She made it into a whole pie, and it went fast. Yeah. So a little bit of supplements and stuff tied all together. It was so then this week is when we go to Columbus for the Bullfrog event. Yep.
Good deal. Lucas, hello to my AA members. Yes, exactly. We are the support group for all enthusiasts of bourbon and supplements. Absolutely. I picked up a couple.
Even I at the end of this, I was going to say, even I at the end of this weekend, I was like, wow, that was aggressive.
That was a bit much.
That was aggressive. Well, and then you would have appreciated it too. So we all have like really similar tastes in music and stuff, which is it's pretty eclectic. But I mean, we were just rocking out to like 80s music basically the whole road trip down. And we had some videos of it that were some pretty like ballads and love songs, and just four dudes hanging out like singing Celine Dion and all this other stuff, in the car. So I was exhausted, like I said, by the end of the weekend. So
I can imagine so, man. I can imagine so. Listeners, tune in. You guys got any other questions, or you just want to hear me and Justin go back and forth? Feel free to post up any comments, questions you have. Fitness, lifting, supplements, bourbon, or any other off the wall topics. We're good with anything.
Yeah, I would agree.
Brooke has spotted a wild Lucas. Yes. Which while we're on the topic of liquor, before we get to Devin's question, I found a bottle of. I went scouting around. So after we had our podcast last week, I kind of went scouting around the few liquor stores in the area, and there's like the two big box ones. So there's a Total Wine and then Spec. So like the two big dogs in here. Mm-hmm. And then I happened to go through a couple of the small mom and pop ones. Neither of the two big dog stores had the Rebel Yell 100 that I was telling you about, that weeder bourbon that I like. I found a liter bottle of it for $24 at this little hole in the wall place. Yeah, it was awesome. I love that stuff. And so I finally finished off the other little bottle I had. $24 for a liter, which was nice. Right. So do you want to buy 20 bottles of that, or you want to buy one bottle of Bland's Gold? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, it was super, super great. I also picked up, I found one of the other little hole in the wall store had 1792 full proof. So, and that's 123 proof. And so I'm going to be, I haven't cracked it open yet. I've still got it. Like I broke the seal off of it, but I haven't actually poured myself one, thinking that I'm going to save that for like the end of the week. That'll be the end of the week specialty pour.
So you haven't tried that one?
Not yet. I'm
You're
dying
gonna like.
to. Like I just
You're gonna
took
like
it and
that
just
one.
like smelled it. Oh, it's and I just love the bottle too, because I mean, like after you kill off that bottle, that's almost like a decanter. You just like keep on the shelf and pour, like fill it with something else too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I have the sweet wheat one that we probably killed about half of that, and but that the foolproof one, whoo, man,
Yeah.
that is foolproof. Like I said, there's some bourbons, like I said, the Blanton's Gold at 107, you would never know. Like it was so smooth. But foolproof 1792,
Yeah.
it's smooth for 120 something, but it is. I remember it'll let you know that you're drinking it. That's for sure.
Gonna say hi. Yeah, I got that. I got another handle of Larceny. I found that just because I've always got to have that on hand, like that. I've always got to have that. Knob Creek, Early Times Bottled and Bond always have to be on hand for me, because those are my three. Just I'll go through those on a regular basis. I enjoy those, and they're not overly expensive. Although it's been harder to find the handles of Knob Creek, and like the little stores, like so the mom and pop stores are charging $70 for a handle of Knob Creek, whereas like Specs and Total Wine, it's $53 there. So, and I was talking to the guy, I told him, I said, where are the handles? And he said, they're just not putting them out right now because stocks are running low or demand so high or supply chain issues. It's the same shit you hear everybody. You talk like, why can't I find this? Supply chain.
Supply chain.
Okay.
It's the built-in excuse. Just say COVID. That's just the natural reaction to everything. I think because I was looking for that one, the Rebel Yell one that you recommended, but I haven't been able to find it around here yet.
And depending on which label you find, it'll either be Rebel 100 or the older bottle will be Rebel Yell 100. So it's gonna be either one of those.
Yeah. I haven't located that one yet, because we went to do a little bit of shopping for the whole get together, but didn't see it.
Yeah, and the foolproof, I was surprised the foolproof wasn't all that expensive. I was expecting it to be more. It was only, I think, $42 at the little mom and pop place. I got it, so I could probably get it for, I don't know, maybe 38 or 39 at one of the big box stores if they ever had it. And it got a bottle of the Jack Daniel's single barrel, not the barrel proof, but just like their regular single barrel, which it's a 94 proof, and that was really good. I was sipping on that when watching the McGregor Poirier fight on Saturday night, where the Louisiana boy again crushed McGregor second time in a row. So I was happy about that.
Yeah, I saw that. We didn't actually watch the fight, but I saw obviously what happened, and that made me happy. I like that.
Yep. Yeah. What is the creatine shirt? While we're on, we got Devin's question up. So it looks like creatine, and then you've got a check mark. I don't know if I can say the company that
right.
Yeah.
So, and it says on the back it says just take it.
There you go.
And it's got our logo. So we did a T-shirt. Basically an R orange color with TNS, sort of like a little collaboration, and this creatine, just take it with whatever you want to call that, to look like a scooper. So
a scoop with a swoosh.
Yeah, scoop with a swoosh. And then so we just did these sleeveless ones for summer, and they're kind of like sort of the old school, like not tank tops or anything like that, but like the old like muscle shirts. So yeah, creatine, just take it, man. It's so funny too, because then like over now all you hear about is like, we've been beating this creatine thing, like beating that drum for the last couple of years, and now there's like this huge shortage of creatine, and it's like it's good though. It's good. People get it now. Especially, what I've seen is women that believe in it now. There's some women just freak out because a lot of times there's that initial like water retention, kind of thing. It's not bloating, it's different than bloating. So people say that word, and I fucking hate that word. But like, whenever it's sort of like if you have like a really like high carbohydrate day out of nowhere, sometimes you feel just a little bit heavier. But then if you do it consistently. Just like creatine, if you take it consistently, your body usually, kind of acclimates itself. So I'm glad to see, especially women, using it, because they're probably the ones lacking it the most. Especially if you're like a vegan style like woman, you need to take creatine for sure.
Absolutely. Ham is checking in from Twitch, reminding all of the YouTube's schmucks to suck it. So all of you people that are watching us on YouTube, just Ham wants you to know you can suck it. Brooke and Lewis saying hi to each other. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. We much appreciate it.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a good. I was actually just going to talk about peak performance. So, Hesperidin, I think, is one because peak performance, they sent me a killer stack. I actually did an entire post about it because I was like, they're a smaller company, crazy loaded formulas. They sent me their intra, their pre, their pump, and their like muscle builder. And killer products, man, killer formulas, just loaded to the gills with and they made some tweaks along the way too that I've really liked, especially with the pre-workout. And so yeah, I did an entire post about the stack yesterday, and we had a pretty funny. We can get in the comments. We had a pretty funny comment because there was somebody came in there and was like talking about how it's too expensive, and I just absolutely like fucking crushed them on it, and they didn't come back to comment on it. So when it comes to Hesperidin, right, I think we know about Hesperidin, but then you have this methyl version of it that you see in here. I have it around here somewhere.
Yeah, and just for the so people remember maybe a year, 2 years ago now, Citrapete came on the market. And that is like a citrus bioflavonoid that's standardized towards a very specific form of hesperidin, which is supposed to have improved bioavailability. And so the hesperidin methyl chalcone, I've got to believe, so hesperidin in and of itself is a flavonoid that's found in citrus peel and other just kind of citrus fruits, oranges, things like that. And so it's got antioxidant properties, it's got anti-inflammatory properties, it's got analgesic, so pain relieving properties. And so by way of doing that, it's going to improve nitric oxide availability, kind of like the same thing that all of these other polyphenol rich extracts you're seeing in there. So pomegranate, grapeseed, pine bark extract. I'm not going to say the 7 ingredient one because I disavow that ingredient. So any of those kind of things, it's all getting back to the exact same thing, which it's regulating oxidative stress in the body. It's lowering that, improving bioavailability of nitric oxide, and promoting endothelial relaxation, which is going to help, fuel the pump. And maybe you're getting also some of these analgesic effects too, where it's going to blunt a little bit of that perceived pain you're getting to where you'll be able to push a little bit harder and a little bit deeper into the set, kind of staving off that central fatigue or that localized fatigue in the muscle.
That's something that I've always talked about when it comes to agmatine. Agmatine, for people, 99% of I would say the supplement industry that I see talk about agmatine don't understand agmatine, which is, it's pretty complex. People just say, oh, it's a pump ingredient. That's not what it is. It doesn't tell the whole story. And one of it is exactly what you just said. It's that it dulls pain. And I think that's part of one of the reasons it's not. I don't think you can use it like in the UK because there's something going on there with like pain relief and stuff. So anyway, if you can dull pain while you're working out, you can therefore push past certain thresholds, and that's gonna just you doing more reps, doing more exercise and stuff like that, more output. You're gonna increase nitric oxide and things like that. So I think exactly like what you're saying here. It's taking hesperidin, which is already we know a little bit about, and then just trying to make it easier to use for the body. Maybe more bioavailability is all like what we talk about anymore these days, because it's like you can take these same concepts and then just try to get the body to use it a little bit better. So, but the problem is like one of the downsides of using these crazy loaded products is I don't know whether this did anything or not. You know what I mean? It's like, did I have a great pump from the product? Absolutely. But there's like 37 pump ingredients in that formula. So unless you were to use it, kind of standalone in a controlled setting, I don't really know how much like that ingredient specifically made a difference.
Yeah, and it's also got some skin properties too. Like it's going to offer protection from UVA, UVB protection, stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure that's not peak performance is not putting it in there for skin health. That's just kind of like an auxiliary benefit of the ingredient.
Yeah, he was telling me too that they went with an orange soda flavor on this product, which I thought was interesting. it's pretty close. Like, it's not obviously not like drinking an orange soda from like a fast food place or anything like that. But he said that the reason why was because Hesperidin, these things can come from orange peels and stuff like that. They're citrus peel, and you get that very distinct feeling. He said that no matter what they did, that's what it would kind of taste like. Was like it would have an orange hint to it. So they're like, well, we're going this direction, and I think that that's something that that is a nuance that a lot of people, good flavoring companies, know, is that you can use certain ingredients to push in a direction flavor-wise that it's already, and then that's why like some companies won't use certain ingredients because they're just too tough to flavor and mask and all that other stuff. But that's it's kind of, if it's already got a hint of that naturally, then let's not fight that. Let's kind of like go with it. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Good question, Devin. Good. Appreciate the ingredient question.
Killer products too, and it was nice. They sent some cat toys over too.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. It's always a nice touch.
I just popped over at a Casker, so I showed the Blanton's Gold. The foolproof one that I just bought at the little mom and pop store the other day. I got it for 40, whatever I said, 42, 44.
Which is crazy price.
For $65.
I was gonna say the only time I think I saw it was like $70.
Yeah, no, it was so either that place doesn't realize what they're sitting on, or this website is outrageously overpriced. Either way,
that I because that Blanton's Gold that was on there for 400 and some. I know for a fact that my friend paid way more than that for that.
Really?
He's in California though too. Everything in California sucks. So
agreed. Jojo, if I'm not mistaken, citrulline's the main ingredient in pump products. If that's so, could you just take citrulline on its own with a pre-workout?
If it's not in there, sure. I think. Well, so citrulline is also misunderstood, I think, from a lot of people. Citrulline's basically, it's in the urea cycle. What it wants to do is remove basically the waste from the system as you're working out. That's what kind of shuts you down in the middle of workouts and stuff like that, or like stops your reps and sets. So if you're able to clear out some of that, it allows you to like work a little bit harder. And that's why I think citrulline just shows up in everything. It's always in there. But there's companies that make Axe and Sledge comes to mind. They just released like an essential kind of line with, they have just citrulline. So I think that's actually, I think that's the move that more people should do, is learn what individual ingredients, because it ties back into what I was just saying about the peak performance one. If you take a product with 27 ingredients in it, that's cool. But how would you ever know which ones you actually need or which ones are helping you? You're sort of locked into that huge basket of ingredients when maybe you just need some citrulline, some caffeine, and something else to get a good workout. So
yeah, that's a great point. And I'm glad you brought up the thing about the citrulline with the urea cycle, because like you said with agmatine, everybody just assumes it's a pump ingredient.
Yeah.
And I remember I was talking to Lane Norton probably around this time last year, right after he had released his Outwork nutrition line. I was going through, I said, all right, so I was Lane, like, why'd you go with citrulline versus something like nitrosamine or something like that? Because he's a researcher and he's always kind of up to speed on all the ingredients. He said, I said, there's other nitric oxide ingredients. He said, well, actually, I didn't put citrulline in there because of the nitric oxide benefits. He said, look, nitric oxide, it's great and all, but it's, it lasts for such a short time. Like the half-life of nitric oxide is like 1 millisecond or something like that. He said, citrulline's got those ammonia buffering effects. That's why I do it. So he said the blood flow and all that stuff, he said, that's great, but that's not the main purpose in here. We're doing it in there for its fatigue buffering ability and help you, last longer, push harder in your workout. So that's a very important point. And I almost wonder, that's probably where most of these like quote unquote nitric oxide ingredients are actually doing the thing. It's probably more in their fatigue ablating effects than it actually is on the, you're improving the muscle pump or something. I think that's where you're actually getting most of these benefits. Yeah,
it's I could not agree more, because I remember basically the first time when I was putting the app together and I was looking at citrulline, I'm like, it was another one of those ingredients where I was like, this doesn't really jive with what is constantly being told to people, I was like, oh, because they just don't really take the time to understand. And I think that kind of ties into it, where it's like, if something, your body, this is what your body is doing when you're working out, right? So if you're able to take something that allows that your body to do it a little bit better, and that's kind of like what citrulline does. Citrulline is not I'm glad he said that too. I've been saying, I was like, because I thought, honestly, like when I was doing it, I was like, am I wrong did I just get the wrong information? And the more I'm looking at it, I was like, because that's why it also helps, like when a lot of the studies, you're seeing sort of like a rebirth, or so to speak, of arginine showing up in some formulas, because a lot, when you read studies about citrulline, a lot of times it's paired with arginine, whereas arginine by itself maybe not that effective, but when you kind of add it in there, it helps with nitrate tolerance and all that sort of stuff that I know you've talked about before, where it's just it's deeper than, it's kind of like agmatine. If agmatine is able to blunt your response to pain, like if you're not noticing it, then you're going to push harder, and that extra work you're doing is going to increase nitric oxide. It's going to increase blood flow and all that good stuff.
Correct. Samuel Bixby says, period.
Yeah, I agree. I was just saying the same thing to like my buddy the other day. I'm like, dude, 100%. I agree.
Brooke, definitely look for mood elevation. 87% more likely to work out harder when happy. Yeah, I know Sandy's the same way. She wants that nootropic buzz. She doesn't care for all the pumps or like outrageous stim. Something that's like moderate stim, but like high on like the focus and mood stuff. It's the way to go.
I think that we've talked about this before. There is a power output study and claim with people that take alpha GPC. I think that's just due to the fact that it's making you, it's sort of lighting you up cognitively. Yeah. So I don't think that necessarily that's specific to alpha GPC. I think I don't know if anyone's really tested it with like citicoline or something like that, but I for sure, I've taken citicoline, stuff in pre-workouts and stuff like that. And when you feel that, you will just push harder. So I think it can be exactly the same thing. So I agree. That's where I'm at these days. I prefer the mood, sort of the happy kind of stuff. And I think that's why I liked what Robbie did with Assassin, dialing back the harshness, the anxiety, and just pushing a little bit more on the happy kind of aspect. So I'm the same way.
All right, since you brought up Robbie, I feel like we have to just take a moment and appreciate Robbie's savageness.
Just
the outstanding human being that he is. So we're gonna see if I can figure out how to share this properly. We're just gonna. Is that showing up?
Yeah. This is.
Move this out the way.
Yep, you're good.
Can't buy me love.
This was Robbie's Instagram story today, and he has no love lost with that company. And I will say this: I love Unbound. I love NutraBio. We're huge fans. I love Unload. So PricePod did this video and said that this is, did they say most intense stim-based pre-workout? So I know people that watched the video, and they said the caveat was here that they said it was like the most intense without DMHA or without like some of the harsher ingredients. I don't know what their qualification for that is. To me, my reaction was they're just making something up to just say it, because if you're going to like discredit whatever like harsh ingredients or like questionable ingredients, it doesn't really make any sense to me. So it's like, this to me feels like we just want to make a video for Unbound, which that's fine. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, well, it's probably wired into their advertising contract too.
Yeah, it's just an advertising thing. So I think it's cool when because if I were to do something like this, or if I would want people to police me as well. So you want to put out content, and and people want to call it what it is. I think that's what we're here for.
Yeah. So, Robbie, you are a savage, sir. My hat is off to you.
Well, because he takes like he's got an interesting like take on it too. Because if you ever talk to him, we talk to him both all the time. He doesn't say things just to say them. Mm-hmm. Like he acknowledges. I talk to him all the time. He acknowledges other companies that make really cool stuff. He's he is a big believer in what they do, which is awesome. But even like yesterday, like when he was talking to me about this whole thing, he rattled off, 10 other pre-workouts that he loves that, fit that kind of thing. So it's not just him saying, well, I want Apollon to be known as the best or anything like that. He's just like, he does have, he has a unique sort of hatred for what they do over there also. But he's also the first person to give people credit, when they do something, that he agrees with also. So it's not like he's like a one-track mind when it comes to this stuff. But
yeah, no, he's fair and balanced, and well, he'll take it. He can dish it out, but he'll take it too, and he's not just going to run scared or just deflect or something. He'll meet it head on.
I think he is probably, and he brings this up because, one of the people over at Price Pod, they were making it a very big point that they used hooligan before one of their meets. But that was when they were trying to get a relationship with Apollon, and now they're not. So now they don't talk about it. So I think that's where the hypocrisy sort of comes into play, where it's an easy thing to do. Because we get into our little bubbles of, even me, like I try to give everybody a fair shot. I don't ever tie myself to companies because I want to be able to talk about any product, but still at the same time, you end up talking about whatever products are sort of around you the most, right? Because someone asked me for like pre-workouts, there's so many that I'm going to go with whatever is like fresh in my mind or whatever.
Right.
So
yeah.
But you can't be a hypocrite about it. You can't want to talk good about a company and then not talk about them just because they don't pay you. You know what I mean? Like that's not. I don't like. If you want to give people information about legitimate products, then just talk about legitimate products. Like you don't. It doesn't. But I get it. You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd be just curious. Go try the new Glaxon specimen. Like if you haven't tried Apollon, or even if you have, and you're looking for something that's equally gonna like light your balls on fire, go try like Devastate of the Union. Go try Glaxon specimen, especially
GFY.
the Yo-Yo blend. I mean
the GFY one too.
GFY.
So,
I mean, and I don't think there was any banned substances in GFY either.
So I can't remember. That's
Mike and them just don't mess around with any of that stuff anyway.
When you say questionable ingredients, like what the fuck does that mean? You know what I mean? It's like, but I will say this, like circling back to Unbound and NutraBio, I love that pre-workout. I absolutely love that thing. But
it is solid. I would agree.
I'm kind of sick in the fact that one reason why I like it so much is I don't think it's intense. Mm-hmm. It feels really good, and it's something that even though it's 450 caffeine, I think roughly.
450. I forgot what.
Yeah, I think it's 450. But I can use it constantly, and I don't feel that. When you there's so much subjectivity to terms that people are using, but it's like when I think intense, like I mentioned using Assassin the other day, that's intense. And when you have a workout like that, you can't or shouldn't maybe necessarily come back the next day and do it again, and then the next day and do it again. Whereas like Unbound, it's not intense for me. It feels good, so I can actually use it multiple times per week with no problems at all. Like none of that like hangover, where you feel like somebody hit your CNS with a baseball bat a few times.
Right. Yeah. Justin, do you want to be famous? You can buy followers, primes, and viewers.
I do. I know several people in this space. If I ever want to learn how to buy followers and do like follow and unfollow stuff, I have 30 templates in the supplement space.
Is Peak Performance going to stock in brick and mortar like Natural Body or TNS? Do you know?
I
I don't know
don't
how well
know.
you know the guys at Peak Performance. I don't.
So I've had some questions people have asked me, and I just need to ask them this question because people are like, are they that there's a Peak Performance like retail store, I think. But the problem, and Robert knows all about this too, because you make formulas for companies and margins. That's going to be like if they were to go into Natural Body or TNS, like it's going to be tough for them. They'll do it just basically for exposure because the money that they'll lose out on, by going like wholesale or something like that is, it'll make things a little trickier. So I think that's why I think they're just on their website. Like right now, it's just you can make more expensive formulas when you're direct to consumer with the margins, because then anytime you go into another retail location, you have to give them a cut basically, which I don't think is a whole lot different than giving like ambassador codes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But these are expensive formulas. These Peak Performance ones. They're. Did you see their intra? The intra.
Let me pull it up. We can show the
intra. I love the intra.
We can pull this up and we can share it with the lovely people at home.
But at the same time, you have unbound, super expensive formulas in their brick and mortar. So it's really it's kind of tough there. I'm sure they would be open to it if they get enough like exposure just to kind of get out there. But
okay.
The intra, I love the intra, and it's
here we go. Let me get this out.
But also you can see too, they're Canadian, which also because then
what they can do. Yeah, or I guess for like ingredient dosages.
Well, and then it's more expensive for them. The shipping and all this other stuff can create some issues when you're trying to be like international, and if they're not ordering huge quantities, it's just little things that kind of go in retail.
Yeah. Overall, I like the formula. One thing I would like to swap, if I could, is get rid of the maltodextrin, and even just like if you're trying to save cost, because clusterdextrin is super expensive, but just put in like regular dextrose. I think because malto tends to be, gets all over the place. It's messy and sticky as all hell, but the ingredient also tends to lead to a lot of GI distress for some people. So I would probably switch out for like a simple dextrose if you're trying to save costs on stuff, but the rest of the profile is very solid.
Yeah, because they have I like it too because the rest of the EAAs, methionine, that's a lot of methionine.
Yeah,
and
it tastes horrible.
Yeah, most companies won't do it because of how bad it tastes, which I can say that this is a lemonade flavor, and the flavor on it, or at least the one I got, it was so good.
Yeah, that's the only flavor they got.
So, but going with lysine at 2 grams, I think lysine's a cool one to go with that dose. Lysine has a lot of sort of like other cool things sort of going on with it when it comes to like skin, and they're good with like
immune support.
So anyway,
yeah,
cool formulas, good guys, good people over there. They deserve some love for what they're doing.
Where is the Brooke? Heard something interesting. Across the ways that Apollon Assassin did not meet standards because of NuPept. Is that such a big deal?
Who's standards?
I think maybe it's not like so. NuPept is probably something that has to be prescribed in other countries. It's not a dietary ingredient in those markets. So I think by she's saying it's not meeting standards. But that just boils down to it's not like Apollon stuff is spiked or they're putting stuff in there that they shouldn't be. They're formulating their products for the U.S. market. So what's allowed in our borders, as far as what can be used as in supplements or just any kind of products that you're selling as a dietary supplement. Whereas if you take that over to England or Russia, Germany, Australia, New Zealand, any of those places, you take that over there, NuPept may not be allowed for use in supplements there. Here, it's a gray area ingredient, but it can still pass. So it's meeting the standards of spec for the United States. It's not that. So it's not a big deal to me. I mean, I'm glad we get to use New Pep. I like the ingredient a lot. There's a lot of stuff you can't use in other countries that we can here. So I would much rather, be here taking our supplements.
Right. New Pep's a tricky because the really the mechanism not really understood. So, but we know it works for sure. So when it comes to this, New Pep is sort of, when you say gray area, for like people that don't know, what the FDA will do a lot of times is they'll say this New Pep does not fit a dietary supplement because there's not a natural source of it. So a lot of times they'll put them on their list as something that they'll look more into, and then they don't ever do it. So it just kind of sits there. It's not like banned or anything like that here. It's just sort of like in this murky where some manufacturers won't use it just in case. Some companies won't use it. But yeah, and Robbie knows that. Like it's an ingredient that you're pushing the thresholds. There's nothing like I said, there's nothing illegal or anything about it, but it's not something that we also know a whole lot about. So it's you just take that in mind, right? You take that in consideration when you're buying a product. Like there's plenty of pre-workouts out there that don't have it in there. So if that's something that concerns you, then there's plenty of other.
Use another option.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I like the ingredient. I use it sparingly. I don't use it every day. I mean, 10 to 30 milligrams in due course. Following up on that, mentioned that he would never try it because it does not meet guidelines or whatnot. Well, that's, again, like Justin was just saying, that's their prerogative. But
wait a minute.
I'm not sure what guidelines they're saying.
Wait a minute. Who mentioned that? Didn't they say they would never use it? I could blow that shit all to smithereens if that's exactly what was said. Don't
give us a little bit extra context, Brooke.
Yeah, because I would never watch any of their shitty videos, so I'm not going to watch that. But they would never. Okay, I there's got to be more to it because that would be some serious hypocrisy right there. Who said it though? Which one?
Here we go. All waiting for Brooke to get back to us.
Or if they say, I will say this: that it could be if they help companies make formulas, and they said they wouldn't use it in a formula they were making for another company, I would understand that part of it. But if they're saying they wouldn't personally use it, that's a fucking lie.
Yeah, because DMAA wasn't legal either, and that was used with Ubiquity. During my time. Shipping is steep for their website, $10, but I see your point. I'm assuming that's about peak performance. Shipping is $10.
Canadian.
Yeah, $13.75 Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a cheap data. I think so. That was so in the comment sections yesterday, someone made a comment about being too expensive. My first reaction was, first of all, when people say that something is too expensive, like in this space, I'm like, let me see your bank statement. Let me see the type of stupid shit you spend your money on, and then we can start talking about like what you think is too expensive. But it's a relative thing. You know what I mean? Like if you I make the restaurant analogy all the time. If you go out and you get a chicken, dinner or whatever, and you have one side and you have a drink, then it costs this much money. If you go out and you get this and you get this and this, all these other like things, the more food you buy, right, the more expensive it is. It's the same way when it comes to supplements. It's like, I don't know, they're not taking a huge basket of ingredients that costs X amount of money and then egregiously, like if it was $120 for this product, then it'd be like, okay, that's too expensive. But this falls directly in line with what a product containing that many ingredients ultimately costs. And So if you if you think that that's too expensive, and I'm not saying she did. I'm saying there was a person on my comment section yesterday was talking about it being too expensive. I was like, don't buy it. Like, if you want a cheaper pre-workout, there's plenty of them, but they're not price gouging or anything like that. They're putting an appropriate price tag on a huge basket of ingredients. So if you use more ingredients and more dosages, then it costs more money. And it's like, it's not like it's some magic or something like that. So, but that person got beat up pretty bad on my comments.
Responding to the $10 shipping charge, Shane paid $200 for Zoa, so you can spend $10 to $20. Come on, Brooke.
No, he didn't.
Well, it was like, so Shane imported a bunch of stuff into New Zealand. It was the Zoa energy drinks plus a bunch of other like stuff that was loped in there, but we just give him shit because it was $200 for shipping. But he said that's what he's used to pay. Stuff? Well, it was Zoa plus a bunch of other supplements he bought all at the same time. So yeah. Well, he's doing the people's work. He had to do a review for the site, so he actually buys the supplements that he reviews on the site. He doesn't have a paid review, so.
You're not causing drama. People being hypocrites is what causes drama in this space.
Word.
I don't know, man. It depends. I guess I would have to hear exactly, because I don't think Ben would say something like, even though I'm not a fan of his, but I think he wouldn't say something like that, like, oh, I would never personally use it, because everybody knows he uses like way more ridiculous things than that. The new pep. I'm guessing that what he was saying was if he was going to make a formula, he wouldn't use it, which I don't disagree with him there. It's you're kind of playing a game with the FDA where they could turn around tomorrow and like totally ban it, and then you would have to reformulate. So if he said that, then I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that that's what he was talking about.
It's generous of you.
Because if he's saying he didn't use it personally, I would say he's full of shit.
Jojo, thoughts on taking pre-workout twice in a day if you work out at 5 a.m. and then again at 6 p.m.? My question is, why are you what style of training are you doing? Are you really pushing yourself as hard as possible at that 5 a.m. workout, or do you need that pre-workout at 6 p.m. or 5 a.m.? Like if you're just doing a cardio workout, do you really need like like I'm not going to take Hooligan twice in a day. I'm not going to take Specimen and Hooligan or like Devastated Union and Hooligan. Like if it's a morning cardio session, I might take like a scoop of C4, and then in the afternoon I might take. But even then, I've never taken pre-workout twice in a day, and I've done like 2-a-days and stuff like that before. But
yeah, and if you're doing 2-a-days and you're doing it like super intense, you're gonna be doing more harm than good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You can't consistently do 2 training sessions a day with a lot of harm on your CNS and stuff. You'll just burn out too quickly. So yeah, it would depend. Yeah, it would depend on what kind of training you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you're like a 21-year-old or something, like an 18 or a 21-year-old, then yeah, you can probably do those 2-a-days and you'll bounce back fine. But if you're 30 plus, you don't need that much training volume. If you do, then you're probably not pushing for as many quality reps and hard sets as in your other workouts.
Yeah, I only know because I did it, and it ended up. You think it's a good idea, and it ended up being a bad idea.
Yeah.
But I would also say there's nothing like wrong, with taking. I mean, depending on how much stim you're getting, I think that one thing that I always try to keep. We talk about this a lot. I try to keep my stim intake within a certain window. Mm-hmm. That way I can do it consistently, and I still feel the effects strongly. What you run into when you do stuff like this, potentially, is you're just going to be constantly stimulating your system, and that's going to mess with your cortisol. That's going to have a lot of negatives, but also will force you to use more and more and more, because you're going to get so used to using those stimulants that's where you can kind of run into issues also where you don't want like I've told people this a lot, like as much as I like high stim stuff, I never go over the full dose. You know what I mean? Like you see some people, I know people that take like 2 servings basically of GFY, 2 servings of Hooligan. Speaking of Ben, that's what Ben did that for his one meet. He took 2 scoops of Hooligan. And dude, 2 scoops of Hooligan, that's like
1,200
1,300
megs of caffeine.
It's like, that's, but it also, he's a big guy, it's kind of like, but still, that you want to, people do that, and I don't do that. Like, that's not.
Yeah. Lucas, many pros train like that, split their set. Yeah, the difference is they're
That's not what he's
hopped up
talking
on.
about.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
most of those pro bodybuilders aren't double dosing like hooligan twice a day. Plus, they're on God knows how many pounds of gear. So I mean that's kind of difference. And yeah, I'm not saying people don't train twice a day. They do, but they're enhanced bodybuilders that can handle tremendously more volume and intensity than natties. And JoJo is a natty bodybuilder, so he's not. And so him and I have had offline discussions or just through email and stuff. And so he's a natural bodybuilder.
And a lot of pros don't take high stimulant products and things like that. So that's what we're asking. That's apples to oranges.
Yeah. Jojo, more clarification on that. So I wake up at 4:30, hit a solid leg workout, and then I deliver for Amazon and average 15,000 steps. Wanted to come back this evening and hit my shoulders. This is a push-pull leg shoulder split. Only reason I split it into 2 a day is just because of time. Okay.
Sure. So when you say pre-workout, what are you talking about? Like, what pre-workout are you taking?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to do like a stim in the morning and then a non-stim at night, I have no problem with that. That's fine. That's all within. The only thing I would say is be careful with if like huperzine is in a lot of the stuff, because if you get taken like a pre-workout that has like 200 micrograms of huperzine in the morning, then like another 200 or 300 in the afternoon, that's going to build up in your system over time and lead to some potential brain fog, headaches, ears ringing, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's why I think the huperzine and pre-workout thing needs to go away.
Yeah. Usually if I do 2 a day, it's going in the evening with the wife and kids, and I typically go lighter and less intense, but I want to hit it hard again. Yeah, and that's fine. I would just do a stim one. If you're going to do like your hard, heavy stim, make that like the early morning one or something, just so it doesn't also disrupt your sleep at night. Like, don't take a 400 milligram caffeine pre-workout or even like a 300 one at 6 o'clock at night if you're going to bed at 10. That's going to be disrupting your sleep, impairing your recovery and your ability to push hard at your 5 a.m. workout.
Yeah, I agree. And then also being sort of careful what you're using in the morning. If you're working out and then working, right? So you have to remain active and things like that too. So taking things that are really like crash heavy and like really like heavy stimulating, and then you're going to come back down while you're at work, also not, because then if you do stuff like that, and then you're putting more stress on your body while you're being active all day, you can really run into a lot of cortisol issues. If you're a natural bodybuilder, a lot of good coaches that I've seen, they really are big on the stim intake, the caffeine intake, because of what it does, especially if you're trying to get in a certain level of competition, cortisol, weight gain, water retention, a lot of negative mental effects that it sort of does that you're already kind of going through. So you can take pre-workout twice a day, and you can work out twice a day, of course. But it's like, depending on what you're taking, is it a good idea or not? Is it the most efficient?
I mean, people will drink coffee all day, do energy drinks. I'm trying to think from the. I mean, you take too much citrulline, there's nothing really bad that's going to happen. Like the maximum dose is 10 grams that's been shown to be effective in a day. Outside of that, you might get some GI distress and end up like pooping it out or peeing it out or something, or it'll get converted and oxidized a certain way in the body. Same thing if you take too much arginine or betaine or something like that. There's nothing inherently dangerous about doing it. You're going to be wasting money to a certain extent. Maybe experiencing some GI distress along the way. Just be careful with the overall stim intake, just in proximity to when you go to sleep, because you don't want to impair your sleep and your recovery, because that's going to have several downstream effects you don't want.
Yep. And I think to your point, what you're saying with huperzine is like most of the stuff that we take, by the time you work out the second time, it's long gone from your system. Yeah. Something like huperzine can build up and stick with you and huperzine can create some big issues mentally for people. And then the interesting thing that the mind fuck literally of huperzine is, so you take huperzine and you take more of it, right? And it builds up and then it gives you brain fog, right? So then what do? You go get more stimulants or more nootropics, probably contains huperzine in it. Yeah. So you think you're doing yourself some good to try to snap out of this thing, but really you're just sort of kicking a horse that's dead, basically, like I was talking about. So it's something.
I went through that issue 2 years ago badly, and I didn't realize it was huperzine until I had really fucked myself over.
Yeah, nootropics. I love. You and I both are huge nootropic fans, but this is stuff that it's a very fine line between feeling good and feeling like shit. And this is, brain health stuff. This is long-term stuff that we don't really know yet. So it's a cool area, but also an area that you just have to be a little careful with.
Yeah, it's under researched, I would say. Like there's some really cool mechanistic data on it, either in terms of cell cultures, rat studies, stuff like that. The amount of actual healthy human research that's been done on nootropics, especially the ones that we see used very frequently in nootropic supplements, productivity supplements, gaming supplements, it's woefully underwhelming. So like we have a few huperzine studies in humans, but it's mostly with older individuals in cognitive decline. So where sure, you can use 500 micrograms of huperzine or 400 micrograms of huperzine, but those are in people that have Alzheimer's and, severe cognitive deficits there. It's not in healthy 20, 30, 4-year-olds, 20, 30, and 40-year-olds that are just going to the gym. So that's why, you and I and many other people say, use it sparingly, use it every now and then, keep the doses in like 200 micrograms max. You don't need to go up to 400, 500 like I've seen some of these pre-workouts. It's absurd. Is it safe? If you're somebody with Alzheimer's, sure, yeah. If you're otherwise normal, healthy, functioning individual, tread lightly, grasshopper. Tread lightly.
Yeah, because like I said, it kind of gets in that where I don't think that even if you took a ton of it, like it's not something that is going to kill you, but at the same time, it can create a lot of issues that you didn't have to begin with. And then, like I said, I've only because I've done this, right? We speak from experience because it's like. It gives you a feeling because you all of a sudden you realize you're taking like nootropics, and this happens like anything, like can be like things that are cholinergic. You push kind of too hard in that direction, and it's like stimulants where you have that Goldilocks effect where if you go too far, or too little, or too much, and next thing you know, you're sort of like not feeling very good. So a lot of times, like people will talk to me about stimulants, and this goes for pre-workouts too. Even something like as much as I messing a half scoop, for some people, a half scoop can actually be more beneficial than a full scoop, of like certain products and things like that, because you're hitting your sort of sweet spot when it comes to things like that.
Absolutely. At the moment, I'm taking 1 scoop of Redcon Total War with creatine.
And you've been listening to us every week, and he's taking Total War. I was kidding.
In his defense, he's newer to the channel. He's newer to the channel.
Yeah. Redcon loves me. They adore me.
Maybe that's why I've never gotten I've sent Aaron a couple of emails over the years. Maybe that's why I've never heard back from him. Maybe he's heard a few part of the podcasts. Yeah. So maybe until I get a non-stim, maybe just a Rain or C4 energy drink for probably I'm assuming for the afternoon workout.
No, I would eliminate energy drinks altogether, because if you have access to a pre-workout, this is kind of the thing for me is there's real nootropic products, right? Some that are even non-stim. Energy drinks suck, and if you're already having a thing where you're taking in a lot of stimulants a day, they become absolutely detrimental to your progress. To me. They don't do shit for you, right? They don't really do much for your cognitive abilities or anything like that. All they're really doing is beating down your caffeine tolerance. You need some kind of break in there. And if you are going to go stim, like an energy drink, you might as well go pre-workout. You know what I mean? At least you're getting some other beneficial ingredients in there.
Yeah. Or you can maybe just buy some standalone nootropics. If you can't buy a full like non-stim product, buy some bulk citrulline, some bulk Pico 2, some alpha GPC, and you got a simple 3-ingredient thing that's going to kind of hit on maybe some bulk tyrosine too, because that'll give you that kind of like mental heightening or alertness that you want. So simple 4-ingredient bulk, you just take 3 or 4 capsules and you're good to go.
So, and there's something that I like his use case scenario, because this also kind of ties into, you can tell someone what an ingredient does, but then how does that apply to their life? So we talk about when it comes to like something like tyrosine, right? Tyrosine is a de-stressing ingredient, right?
Yeah.
So someone like him, if you're working out twice a day, you have a very active job, stuff like that. Stress isn't just mental stress. And this is something that, again, that I sort of had to go through, because I was fine. I was not having anxiety. I'm not having mental stress. Everything's cool, but you're still putting a lot of stress. You're putting a lot of stress on your system, on your body. And something like tyrosine can bring you back, or like adaptogens, like you're talking about Pico-2 and stuff like that. It can sort of take you from that stressed area that you might be under, pull you back to normal, and that will actually make you, it'll feel energizing for you, right? Because you're sort of like, you're kind of like off track because there's sort of so much going on in your body, especially when it comes to stress. And that by actually calming your system down makes you more alert, which is kind of the opposite of what people think. But, that's why adaptogens and tyrosines and stuff like that, I think, are so cool.
Yeah, agreed. Brooke, Total War, JoJo, tisk, get some Endurelline. 84 servings and a little tub of Endurelline, man. That's right. Like each scoop's 125 milligrams of caffeine. You get some other stuff in there, some focus agents and stuff. I mean, it's just, you stack that with their Nova Pump or Nova Pump Neuro, man. That is a mighty, mighty solid stack.
Yeah, Nova Farm, they do good stuff, man. I like them.
Yeah. Stepping up my game. That's why I'm here and learning. So I get the best bang for my buck. Yes.
Well, when Redcon gives you a pre-workout and they pay for your kid's college and they give you a new car when you buy a pre-workout, that is pretty good bang for your buck. I will say, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with Total War. I don't think that. And I know the collective gasp that I'm giving Redcon a compliment. I just there's a lot of products that are exactly the same or much better, in the space. And when I say better, I don't mean like stronger. You know what I mean? There's just, people will give you more benefits in the pre-workout. Yeah. That's why I don't like energy drinks, because they have their purpose, and don't get me wrong, there's some great flavors and stuff like that. But if you're doing what you do on a day-to-day basis and you're even thinking about taking 2 pre-workouts a day, then the energy drink, I just wouldn't have it in there.
Yeah. Along the lines of energy drinks, so I don't need to send you an invoice for $16 to refund my Alani new purchases. Those actually were pretty good tasting.
Yeah.
Especially like the Breezeberry, man. I'm not a huge fan of like the tropical, whatever, like the newer marketing, like the seasonal stuff. I like the other kind of like the whiter can with all the other stuff on it. But the flavor, that Breezeberry, man, it's got like a blue raz on the front end, and you know how much I loathe blue raz. But the back end of it, it's like Orange Crush or like Slice or something, man. It's a really, really good flavor.
I'm trying to think which one the Breezeberry.
Breezeberry, it's a blue can. G Money from Fitness Informants checking and saying hello. What's going on, Gerhard?
Gerhard missed the fun part of the conversation.
Yeah, Gerhard. When we get off of this live, go back and rewind it about 30 minutes, and you'll get some good laughs, and I'm sure I'll get a text message from you later.
Yeah,
unless he's been lurking in the background this whole time. Although it's 9 o'clock where he lives, so his ass probably just got up, just woke up.
He'll appreciate some of my comments from earlier.
Yeah.
So I've had this one, and you're right. I love the can. Yeah. So, okay. Well, let's talk a couple of things like here when it comes to. So earlier I mentioned how my girlfriend, Supplement Snacks, she made a pie from Ghost Oreo, and it was phenomenal. I've said this to a few people. It's kind of weird. Like, I've tried a lot of cookies and cream proteins. The Ghost Oreo is like different. It's hard to explain unless you try it, but it's not like, because a lot of cookies and cream proteins it's got like an ice cream kind of vibe to it. That's not what Ghost. It's not how Ghost tastes. So it's awesome. I mean, they did a really good job, but it's a little different. It's not, like I said, there's I have an Astroflave cookies and cream protein, and if you were to take that and you were to take Ghost Oreo, as much as it seems like they should taste the same roughly, they really don't. It's just it's kind of an interesting take. And if anyone says something's the best, I already will tell you you're full of shit. I can poke a hole in literally anytime somebody says something's the best, I'll poke a hole in it.
Also, consider the sources where you're saying it's getting hyped as, considering that a lot of these places that may be hyping it are getting paid to say It's the best. I haven't tried Ghost protein. The proteins I've had from Ghost in the past have been very, very solid. This isn't a knock on Ghost or anything like that, but I'm always saying, consider the source. These people that are saying it's the best, go dig down into their profile. Do they have a working business relationship? Are they getting paid to promote this product? Are they a rep for the company? This goes for every product you ever come across. The peanut butter cereal flavors I've had, the regular cereal milk flavors I've had from Ghost Protein, they've been phenomenal. They were, some of the first people I think to do cereal milk flavors back, 4 years ago or something. I haven't tried the new Oreo Ghost, but to Justin's point, like Oreo is a very specific flavor. It's not your traditional like cookies and cream ice cream.
Yeah.
Because I've tried the MTS cookies and cream, and then they're like their peanut butter fluff cookies and cream or whatever it's called. Like that is phenomenal. That is fantastic. So good. But it's not your it's more like a cookies and cream ice cream, like you were saying. It's not just like you bite into an Oreo cookie. And I have a feeling that's what the Ghost Protein is more like. It's like you're actually biting into the Oreo cookie.
Yeah, so, because you have the Oreo.
Yeah, consider the source. What do you think? It is a paid advertising platform. It is not an information network. It is a paid advertising platform.
Like I said, I love Dan. Dan's awesome. Ghost is great. But also a problem, and Dan has said this himself. He said sometimes it's great because they have such a following, such brand loyalty and stuff like that. But he said sometimes it's difficult because he's like, I need real feedback about some things that I do. He's like, and people in the space, PriceFlow especially, since they have a paid relationship with him too, but they will tell Dan that everything that he does is magic. And he's like, I know it's not. He's like, I need actual honest feedback. There was actually a conversation I had with Doug Miller when I was doing the energy drinks. I won't name names, but he said, I want you to come test this. He's like, because if I have other people do it, they'll just tell me it's awesome. He's like, I really need to know, like, if this is any good or not. He's like, I don't want to be told what people think I want to hear. And that's the problem Ghost runs into. Even if they don't have paid relationships with people love them so much. And they know if I do a video about Ghost, it will get more views and things like that than anybody else's. So there's a benefit to doing Ghost content and saying nice things about Ghost. So Ghost does a great job. You know what I mean? They really do. But it's kind of the consider the source thing is always huge in this space.
Absolutely, and that's what so you brought up Doug, and so James Gracely, who used to be with VPX for Bang, he's now working with America Energy on the energy drink stuff. So he was very nice to send us a nice little 5-can sample pack of the America Labs energy drinks.
Did you get the box?
Yes, and so Sandy and I are going to be trying it for this Thursday on our live that her and I are doing tomorrow afternoon. We're going to do like an unboxing, do a flavor review of it. And I'm super excited. Just the marketing, the ad copy that they wrote for it, it's all just phenomenal. And I mean, like I've known James for years. He hauled my ass up at an Arnold Expo years ago and made me chug a Bang in front of a crowd and stuff. The guy is awesome. Just really, really like quality human being. But if the drinks taste like shit, Sandy's going to call him out because she doesn't have a filter. It doesn't matter how many of these companies I know. Like she's told Robbie she didn't like a flavor of something before, and I mean, that's the way we go about things.
And at least, I mean, you got to be honest about stuff like that. Like, Doug is a friend of mine. The people at Core are like I love those people. So it's like I already go into it. I'll never say I'm unbiased because I absolutely am. So sometimes it's hard to detach. Like there's just people, I like the products before I even try them, kind of thing. So we talked about my experience with the energy drinks and my conversation with Doug about how they tasted when you first drank them and then how they tasted later on.
You mentioned it last week that or maybe it was our first episode, that you thought the flavors were good, but they dialed it back a little bit. That was about the extent to which you delved into it.
So what I noticed was I was doing sort of a flavor review kind of thing, right? So I just cracked them open and took a couple sips and sort of gave my feedback. Yeah. And it especially, I don't want to like spoil for it. I don't want to like give you any like already like going down this direction to
Yeah.
mess with your. But it was especially noticeable with the county fair one. I took a couple sips. I was like, this is good, and then I set it back in the fridge. And then I went back later on to try it again, and it's like the carbonation settled a little bit, and dude, the flavor just like blew up like in these cans. Every time I would take one and I would set it aside and then have it again later on, and it like really brings the flavor out. And I asked Doug about this. I said, am I crazy? And he said, no. He said that's what we sort of experienced too. He said we did some things with the carbonation. He goes, and so you'll get that carbonation feeling, which pulls away from the flavor just a little bit when you first try it, but then once that sort of settled down, the flavor like comes out a little bit better. So that's something you might want to, if you guys do a review, do like a now and later kind of thing. It was kind of cool.
Okay,
like,
we'll have to do that. We'll do the live tasting tomorrow, and then maybe we'll come back. We'll film like a smaller segment, and we can do like a little clip addendum to it or something like that.
Or maybe I'm just crazy. Who knows?
No, I mean, because like I went and bought the Ghost energy drinks, and we drank all of those, and we really like those. And so I stuck them back in the fridge, and I would come back to a day or two later, and you sip on them. And you're right. Once the carbonation kind of mellows out, the flavor is a little bit truer because you don't have kind of that tang or that bite from the carbonation kind of cutting through the flavors.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's good stuff. Miss Chrissy, Ghost Oreo is very much like the cookie. Heavy on the cream filling taste, not a strong chocolate taste. The unsweetened cookie flavor is there.
So what you kind of notice, the chocolate comes from the inclusion solely. So if you had the Chips Ahoy one, the actual protein itself, because you get the inclusions, but then you have the actual protein. It's separate within there. Yeah. That is not a heavy, like I said, ice cream sort of. It's very like normal whey protein. So it's like a mix of, you get that vibe, and then you get the Oreo. It's like eating the cookie for sure.
Cool. See, thanks. You're welcome.
Yeah, I know it seems like it's like, that's really like splitting hairs, but it really is. Like I said, there's Astro Flavors is the one that jumps off my head. It's very like, it tastes like ice cream. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whereas Ghost tastes like the Oreo, and then if people say it's the best cookies and cream, they're just whatever.
Great promotion. Afternoon, gents. Hope all is well. Hope you're doing well too, Sean. Nova Pump Neuro or Nova Pump? Which one are you recommending? Both? Yes.
Both.
Which one are you recommending? Yes.
Get them both. Yes. Yeah. The answer is yes.
Yeah. The answer is yes. Jojo, can y'all be my Bradley Martin? Is he still around? I remember he was like a knucklehead on YouTube for a while. Is he still doing his thing?
Yeah, I've seen him because, we talked to Tristan Lee and his brothers a lot. They're coming out with a line pretty soon, and they work out together. I've seen them working out together. I honestly, and this is me, I knew nothing about this space before I started. I don't know anything about Bradley Martin. I didn't know who he was until I saw him in Tristan's video. So
yeah.
But I see people's comments about him. So.
Yes, we can give you Coca-Cola, and the drugs we will give you are caffeine, because that is the world's most psychoactive drug, most widely consumed psychoactive substance.
Indeed.
So, all right, my man, we've gone through all the questions. This will be a last call for all the listeners out there. If you guys got any other comments, questions, queries, quips for us, otherwise we'll be pulling the parachute soon and jumping.
If there was anything else, I feel like there was something else I want to bring up, but I can't remember.
When are y'all heading up to Ohio?
Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll leave Friday and then come back Sunday. So Saturday is the event. So if you're in the Ohio area, stop by. There's a lot of people. Yeah, John Meadows will be there. Gorilla Chemist will be there. Lots of people that I've talked to a lot that I haven't actually met. So that'll be a lot of fun. I know core people will be there. Lots of people. Jay Cutler will be there.
All solid people.
Mm-hmm.
All solid people. All right, my man. Thank you all to the listeners tuning in. Thank you, Brooke, Lucas, Sean. Does she prefer Chrissy or Kristen?
Kristen.
Okay, because their handle said Chrissy. So, all right. Kristen, Luke, all the rest of you knuckleheads that tune in, that tune in each week to see me and Justin and the rest of all of my other people that banter back and forth with each other. We appreciate it. It's a blast for me.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to. You know what? I'm not going to hear anything. Nobody's going to say. Nobody's going to say a fucking thing to me. So whatever. But I'll be checking my DMs. I'll let you know if I get any feedback from my comments today. But I guarantee I won't.
Yeah. If you guys got any other questions, send an email to the supplementengineer@gmail.com. Leave a comment below if you got a question, or hit up Justin directly at Supplement Snoop on Instagram. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video with family, friends, and loved ones, and we will catch you next time.
All right, brother.
On Bourbon Bros.